What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more Entitled Parents stories for you all. Entitled Mother wants everyone to speak English in Mexico. In the middle of September, I went to Cancun for holidays with my mum. We're Mexican, but my first language is not Spanish. Sorry in advance for any mistakes, and we're from a city a bit away from there. We were staying at a really fancy hotel. My grandmother paid the room and plane for us in celebration of my 18th birthday, and we really wanted to make the most of it. This obviously meant they had a lot of foreign people staying, so most of the hotel was managed in English. Everything was great. We got a nice view of the sea and wanted to do a lot of things. Now, my skin is quite sensitive to the sun. I get red real fast, so we went to swim before breakfast. Now, this was when we had our first encounter with the entitled mum. She was a normal looking lady and she didn't even have a Karen haircut. Her and her two sons, who were both around 8 to 10 years old, were staying in a room 2 doors down from mine. So when we went out on our way to the lift, we saw them doing the same. My mum greeted them politely, "Buenos dias," and seeing that she didn't answer and assuming then that she was from another place, she corrected it to good morning. And gosh, the look on her face, she looked offended and just nodded in return. She decided to take the stairs instead, as she had a lot of things from her kids in her hands. Now, I'm a big advocate that there is no way to look Mexican, and my family is a weird Arabic/Japanese mix from 3 generations ago, and you really couldn't tell by eye where we are from. Now, this is going to be important later. We went swimming to the beach and everything was cool. No bad encounters. I even made conversation with a German girl and my mum with hers. A bit later, we went to the main canteen to eat breakfast. It was a dang big place full of food. Half traditional Mexican food and the other with more international plates. And as much as I love waffles in the morning, I was feeling a bit more like chilaquiles with eggs. They had this guy making the eggs. You just went near the counter, he asked you how you wanted them, and he made them for you. It was that simple. We stand in queue just a couple away from our turn, and what do we find? That lady from earlier coming right behind us. Now, the chef had really broken English, but it wasn't a problem since we just really needed to know how the different egg stars were named. Now, his English would improve with the time working there. "Good morning, how do you want your eggs?" My mum said, "Revueltos, por favor," which is scrambled, please. The guy sighed in relief. God knows how long it had been since he last spoke in Spanish. "Saliendo, señor." "Coming, mom." "Hace un rato que no aparecía alguien de aquí. ¿Cómo es temporada baja?" It's been a while since the last time someone from here appeared. It's low season. The entitled mum touched my mother on the shoulder. "I'm sorry, but could you speak English? Most of us do, so you should as well, you know, to not make anything awkward." My mum feels uncomfortable speaking in English, so I answered, "I'm sorry if it bothers you, mom, but it's easier for the chef to speak in his own language, and if we can help, we will." "Wow, rude. It's his job to know English, but not ours to know Spanish." "We won't talk to you in Spanish, don't worry, but right now we aren't speaking to you. Just don't speak Spanish at all while there's people around." "I'm really sorry, but we have the right to speak any language we want." "Well, at least speak your own language and don't ridicule the rest of us for speaking English." "And my language would be... how would I know? Korean?" Now, for the record, not me nor my mum look a bit Korean. I don't know where she got this idea. Yes, we do look a bit East Asian, but not Korean. "Mom, Spanish is mine and my mother's language. We aren't trying to ridicule you, we're just asking for scrambled eggs." "See?" She raised her voice. "It was that simple to ask for your eggs in English. Next time, do it at first." We were done and just turned around. The eggs were already served. My mum said to the chef, "Muchas gracias. Le encargo otros de estrellados para mi hija, por favor." "Thank you very much. I want another 2 fried for my daughter, please." He looked at the entitled mum and said, "Claro, señorito." "Of course, miss," while cracking the eggs. "Estoy pasa más seguido de lo que piensa. Los gringos se ponen bien especiales." This happens a lot more than you expect. Americans get really weird. The entitled mum walked away and we thought we were safe from her yelling, until a few moments later when we were already out of the queue and she was back with the manager. "It was him. He didn't want to cook my eggs if I didn't ask for them in Spanish." "Is that true?" The chef was frozen, so I stepped in. "No es verdad. La señora quería hacernos hablar inglés a la fuerza. Todavía no siquiera era su turno." "It's not true. She wanted us to speak English at force. It wasn't even her turn yet." "Miss, she says you wanted them to speak in English." "Well, in my opinion, they should not be speaking in Spanish in here." The manager's looking resigned. "Sorry, there is nothing I can do against that. They are staying here just as you are, bar and can speak anything they please. If you wish, there is another person making eggs at the other side of the buffet. What an unprofessional place. I want you to know that me and my family are not coming back. We're sorry to hear that. Enjoy the rest of your stay. He was done. God knows how many people like her he's dealt with in the past. Long story short, she just stayed one more day and was always looking at us like we were some kind of bug, whispering things to her children while directly staring at us. Did we care? No, not really. Oh my god, how dare you speak Spanish in Mexico? It's not like Spanish is the official language or anything. People never cease to amaze me. Now, to be honest, one of the main reasons I chose to study Spanish at a high level at university is because I feel so guilty whenever I go to another country and don't know the language. You guys must agree, right? If you live in America or English, it feels like everyone knows English when they come to visit us. But when English or American people go to another country, it's rare that we'll know the language. So for this American to say, no, you can't speak Spanish in Mexico, that is beyond ludicrous. Oh, and by the way, I definitely didn't choose this story to flex my Spanish. Nah, that didn't happen at all. Moving on to our next story. Entitled parent tries to get me to have sex and get pregnant to cure my mental issues. Hey, so I got reminded of a lady at my job who seriously tried to get me to have sex and have a baby. So I'm asexual. I've been that way for years. I've also been diagnosed with unspecified psychosis, depression, and anxiety. The chance of me having sex is slim, and the chance of me having kids is even slimmer. My co-workers know about my mental issues. I ended up in a mental hospital for a bit, and they wondered where I was. And this one parent was trying desperately for me to have sex because sex would cure my depression, and a baby would cure my psychosis. Why is she entitled? Because she has 3 kids that she only kept around for a check and blew all her money on drugs. But she apparently has enough knowledge to know how to cure mental illness. She also tried hitting on guys young enough to be her kids. And no matter how many times I told her sex wouldn't cure me, she never let it drop. She finally got locked up, and after the second time, her kids were taken away. But having kids worked out so well for her, so I should just listen. Well, this story was shorter than I usually choose, but I had to read it. This is just mental. If you think that having kids will fix your mental issues, you are crazy. Moving on to our final story. Entitled kid attempts to steal from the store, but his entitled mum yells at me and my co-worker. So for some backstory, I work at a fairly large farm store in my town, as they pay pretty fairly. I'm at the register and my co-worker is locking up the hunting goods section. They have a giant metal gate like you would see in the front of a mall when the person manning that area goes home for the night. Then a young man, maybe 14 to 15, steps through the sliding glass door with his mother, who's maybe 35 to 37, claiming they need roofing nails. So the mum and son walked in claiming to be looking for some nails, so I tell them what aisle they're in politely. My co-worker was walking around with a notebook, writing down stocks that we needed more of, and it seemed like a normal night. That is, until I hear from a squeaky puberty voice. Hey, can you put me down, you pervert? My co-worker is demanding, give me back the knife and I'll let go. No, you get the heck off of me before I call the cops. I can call them right now and get you in trouble for shoplifting. Mum, this 60-year-old man is trying to kidnap me. I'm 19, not 60. Just because I dyed my hair white for Halloween doesn't mean I'm 60. Get the F off my baby before I get the manager. So my co-worker presses his walkie-talkie button and I walk over to the aisle and see if I can assess the situation. Ah, good. Are you the manager? I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to ask your son to give back the knife and for you to let go of my co-worker, or I'm going to have to call the authorities. Why is a 15-year-old girl working here? Don't you have somewhere else to go? There are firearms and sharp things here. At this point, I'm starting to get a little frustrated at her, because even though I look young, I'm 17, and nearly everyone assumes I'm 16 to 17, except for a few people like the entitled mum. Mom, I've been raised around hunting and knives my whole life. Selling them and helping people with them is no different. I'm also sorry to point out that I'm 17, not 15. Fine, then show me your ID. I don't have to show you anything. Then I press the button for the manager to come to our aisle. Hello, OP and CO. What's the problem here? Well, this mother and son are harassing us, and the son has stolen one of the nuts. This man is trying to kidnap my baby, and I think this young woman here is being forced to work. I'm glad to say that OP is of age and CO is not trying to kidnap your baby. But I heard over the radio chatter that a knife has been stolen. This knife was on the floor unpackaged, so I thought it was someone's that was dropped. So you gave it to your teenage son? Well, duh. These perverts are always looking for kids to take. Me and my co-worker have been close since our parents met, and he can barely stand his brother. Why would he want another kid? Probably to sell for his drug addiction. I don't have a drug addiction, and I think it's time I just take this knife out of your son's hand so this whole issue is over. Soon after, my co-worker takes a knife and hands it to the manager. If this was found on the floor, then why is the plastic tip still on it? I guess it's just from the guy being safe. Mom, I strongly recommend you leave before we contact the police. Soon after, she leaves, grumbling about having to go to a bigger brand. It starts with an L and its logo is a blue house. You effing city dorks, go back to playing your games. Mom, I've been raised in the country and I will die in the country. You're not country because you're literally carrying around a hydro flask. Just shut up and get out of here. You disrespectful lady, you need to be taught how to respect your elders. Was that a threat? Because I can easily pull up the cameras and fork it over to the police. The entitled mum and entitled kid scamper out of the building and we lock the door so we can clean up for the night. Thanks for reading. I'm currently getting more information from my co-worker and he told me about the convo that ensued after I heard the kid scream. I'll try to keep you updated. Well, I hope you can. Well, I guess I can say that this entitled mum clearly has strong legs with the amount of time she jumped to conclusions in this story. Yeah, I think you should have instantly called the authorities and got her out of there. Anyway, that is going to be the end of this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, I've had a few comments over the past few days about some stories not being truthful and maybe being a little bit fake. So in this video, I tried to pick as legitimate stories as I could find, and I hope that came across. So drop a comment below if you enjoyed these particular stories. With that being said, I will see you all tomorrow with some more Reddit content.